Mthoge. Mthoge.
Yes.
Ngoba ukujwayela kabi.
Yes.
Ukujwayela kabi. Ujwayela kabi.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Know It Alls podcast. I'm Ayanda Charlie.
And I'm Fezim Tonti, and we are your favorite popular culture nerds.
Well, I mean, as you know, up in Lini, we swap roles when it comes to this segment. Because it's so easy to get drunk with power.
Exactly.
And so, in the interest of a power balance,
Exactly.
Fezzy has come back.
Thank you very much. I am Game Masters. I am Game Master this week. And, like I said last week, revenge is a dish best served cold.
Okay, that's interesting.
But it can be warmed up in the microwave of evil. You know what I mean? And so this time, the microwave is not going to be on because no revenge needs to be served. Give me a chance.
You were trying to give me a heart attack.
Give me a chance. Okay, we are going to continue in our fantastic segment. By the way, I asked the know-it-alls on Instagram to give us some names for our pop quiz.
Yes. And they said pop quiz.
They're like, no, queen, think about it. Pop quiz. And I was like, you know what? I love our people because they're exactly like us.
Exactly. I think it's smart, it's clever, it's short, it's fun. Okay.
It gets us going. Okay. All right. So, question 1.
Oh, no.
Okay. So, your first clue.
Wait, what are we playing? Are we playing who is...
Sorry to this human.
Oh, okay.
Bonjour, Banila. Sorry.
Okay.
I should have clarified.
Whoa, what are the instructions? Okay, sorry to this human.
Okay, yes.
Okay, 3 clues, I guess.
So, yeah. So even though I started my working life as a domestic worker, I am also an anti-apartheid activist, actress, storyteller, poet, playwright, director, and author. This is the first clue.
Oh, I know who that is.
Okay, give me a second.
Oh, do we do
so the crowd?
3? Oh, okay.
Let's just go. Let's do education.
Okay. No, I just want to know, am I waiting for 3 ones or I'm going from each one?
No. Wait for my 3 clues.
Okay.
And now, because I mean.
Okay.
But
no,
now
keep
this
going.
is for you at home.
Keep going.
I'm 65 years old. And this is the dead giveaway. My birthday, which is October 24, is recognized as National Storytelling Day in South Africa, which I think is so wonderful. Who am I?
I want to first sing your song. Because you raised me.
You raised all of us.
Mam Gcina Mhlophe.
I love her.
What was it? Wait, it's the one about a story, but she also did, because she did Fundani Nati, ne?
Fundani Nati, do.
Now I'm wondering.
Yeah.
But now I'm wondering, was this her? I don't want to get my black kiddies programming ladies mixed up. She
What's
also
your Kiddio?
Someone, I wouldn't know. I don't have Kiddio memories.
Kiddio.
That song, certainly I get it, but I don't have my own.
I loved Kiddio.
I couldn't tell you what it looked like. I think I'm too late in the 90s.
Was it Timothy Treadle? Yes.
I think I'm too late
know who I'm
in the
talking
90s to have that vivid memory. But I think she did Sanmonani
Tumelang Apsheni, hello.
I don't think it's her, but
welcome to our show.
Fundani Nati was her. Okay.
Those are bops. SABC, please invest in the girls again, because here we are.
Busy friend.
Here we are in our mid-30s and not still remembering so deeply what this meant for us. It can't just be Coco Melon, which is great, apparently, according to the new parents, but it's...
Which also, I don't know what it is. It's just something I recognize. I recognize the name, and that is
but
to do with kids.
specifically children type content for us.
Is it gone?
I mean, I think I have a friend who works for Takalani Sesame, and they are still doing some really good, exciting work in that kind of space, in that civic entertainment space. But I don't know that we have. I don't know. You know what? I don't have kids. So I wouldn't know. So let me just stop critiquing for the sake of critiquing. Okay, so I am a musician. I am a musician who has sold at least 10 million albums worldwide. Okay. President Cyril Ramaphosa honored me with the Order of Ikamanga for my distinguished contributions to South African music. And I recently, again, here I'm giving it away. I recently covered Tillerman's Whipped for Shell Music, which I've noted here was a odd brand collaboration, because why was Shell creating like music type Red Bull type things? It was just so odd. But anyway, who am I?
So guys,
I promise you there are people
drink our water as we think.
There are people right now who know exactly who I'm talking
Girl,
about.
I do not.
Do you want to venture into a guest? Would you like anything else?
I mean, I'm gonna say basic things like Shalim Shofe or whatever. I don't know who sold 10 million records
worldwide from South Africa
and got an honor from the president.
Yes.
It's a young person.
It's an older person.
It's an older person.
Would you like to know what category of music that they sing?
Sure.
Gospel.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Is it?
The girls know who this is.
10 million. Okay. It's not Latata Wichoyas. I don't know what kinds of
It's a woman.
South African gospel are like international, guys.
It's a woman.
These are the gospel people I know.
Yeah.
That's Mom Rebecca. Okay. I was going to say Deborah first, guys. Deborah, actually. Shout out to my people who say Deborah.
I need you to, after the show, go and watch this song where she covers Tellerman's.
No, I've heard this song.
Exactly.
But see, Twitter. I learned from Twitter. That is that video, yes.
And then she makes a mistake and she's like, oh, praise God.
Yes. Like, guys, that is one of the videos that, if you just play, even if I don't see it, you play that song.
I love that video so much.
If you play it, and even if I don't see it, I die. And I think the funny thing about it is that there's no context.
Exactly.
It's like, why are these two people in studio?
This is why I'm saying it's such an odd brand collaboration, because Shell said, dude, let's make this thing happen.
So wild.
Which is so weird, because typically you'd get like a Red Bull kind of like music collaboration, you know, old and new.
Yeah.
Like, you know, anyway, loved
Shout out
it.
to Jam Sandwich. That was such a good show that did that the right way.
Yes.
On SABC2 from the time I was watching.
Yes.
Okay.
Yikes. Love that. Okay, so question 3. I am a contemporary South African fashion designer. I was the first African designer to collaborate with H&M to create a collection.
You said a New Day.
New Day. And I'm the founder, here I'm giving it away. I'm the founder and creative director of SA fashion label named Manjo. Who am I?
So I actually just call her, because I know it's her nickname. So I don't actually remember her real name. Yeah? I just know that I call her Mansu as well.
Really?
Yeah. Not that I know her, but I just, in my head, I just refer to her that way.
Yeah, it's Palisa.
Yes, Mukubung.
Yeah, boo. Yes. The first time I kind of saw her work, I was still working at New Frame as a arts journalist, and got the kind of press release, and I was like, yo, this stuff is so cool. And it's been interesting, like, since the emergence of that collection, how many doors have been opened for local designers. So
shout out,
get your flowers, queen. I also didn't know H&M was a Swedish company.
It is. H&M, IKEA.
Just to know. Okay. Right. Now, we is the question 4, and my final question. We are a South African group formed in 1995, and all hail from Soweto, because where else?
Okay.
We have sold over 500,000 records, and we have 10 studio albums and released.
Sorry, can you start again?
Okay. We are a South African group formed in 1995. Okay. We have sold over 500,000 records. Mm-hmm. We have 10 studio albums and released our 10th one on the 1st of January 2014. Who are we?
2014.
That's our 10th album, though. Studio album.
2014. Oh, sorry. I just remembered. This is 2024. So
Yeah.
2014. Is it TKZ?
No, but you're in this.
Is it a single sex group? Is it mixed? Is it Bang or Muffin?
Single sex group.
Single sex group.
Mm-hmm.
95. Bangapi?
5.
Yeah, 5 people from 95.
Look at you.
Are they Joburg? Joburg born.
Yeah, Soweto.
Okay. Wow. Single, and it's...
They are like they are just so central to the Kwaito movement.
Oh, Kwaito.
Yeah.
Okay. 5 people in Kwaito. 5 guys?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. Like now when no 5 people band comes to mind.
Sure. What about Trompies?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Please.
Bonus points if you can give me who the folks were.
No, I can't.
You can't?
I just know Speaky.
Okay, so it's Speaky.
He was like my fiance. Yeah.
It's like me the other day when I was just like, who is this Durban group? Tigra? So it's Speaky, Mahuta, Donald Duck, Chakarumba, and Jokes.
I miss those kind of names.
Right?
I miss when musicians would come into the mainstream after having nicknames, like from where they come from.
Exactly, from their
from
their context.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that is our game. Congrats.
Did we all not learn something, guys?
We all learned.
Okay. Well, otherwise, before we move into the next thing, how do you do, ma'am? How are you?
I'm even better.
Uh-huh.
Now that the world has learnt of the Know-It-Alls podcast on the Dan Corder show. Dan Corder, thank you so much for inviting the Know-It-Alls to your platform to chat about the recent backlash that Miss SA finalist Chidima Oneswu has recently experienced from social media and various other places such as Twitter. And yeah, I think we kind of spoke to the discomfort and the kind of like problematics around the kind of xenophobic and Afrophobic abuse that she has had to endure for the past week, I guess. Yeah.
More than I think. I mean, I think at this point, because this is the thing about that whole topic, is that I saw rumblings of it, I think 2 weeks ago, was it? When we first heard about it. And then I just forgot about it. Like, I didn't follow it. And then Sifuke Sunday.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then it was
blown up.
Made known to us that it's like bigger than, I guess, what we last saw that it was. And yeah, went on the Dan Corden show and spoke about citizenship.
Dan Corder.
So, yes. Oh, fun story. So, I've been calling Dan Corden for easily 5 years now. And we have a friend in common who talks about him. And I've been saying Dan Corden to this friend. And they have not. And then I tell them the other day, and I explained about I was correcting Fezi on the pronunciation because Fezi calls me and tells me we've been invited. So like I'm catching up and she has a lot to say. So I'm like, no, wait, but who? And then she's like, Dan Corder. And I'm like, huh?
Who's she talking about?
Okay. I'm like, I feel like you're talking about this person because of your context clues.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, man, it doesn't. And I'm just like, I don't even know how to spell Corder again. Because I didn't know he had a show, a late night show. Then I tell Neo, and Neo helped me. Shout out my friend Neo. They were like, friend, I think you are crossing James Corden and Dan Corder in your brain. So that was funny.
Not all white people are the same, Ayanda. Just thought you'd like to know.
Wow. And I guess on that note, let's talk about whiteness and blackness and just race consciousness from the Ultimate Girls Trip episode 9, which we are recapping today. So what we're going to do is we're going to start slow.
Yeah.
And then warm up.
Yeah.
And then, really tackle the tough parts at the very end, which is the race stuff. But I was like, let's really take our time.
Yeah.
Because a few things happened this episode, which probably don't have political significance, but are funny and are interesting and are distracting enough. So let's go ahead.
Okay.
So we won't talk about the opening scene, which would have been what was the second half of the, last episode's final scene.
Well, we won't talk about it yet.
Liz, okay. In which Liz is like still reacting to the first thing, but we'll skip straight to Ulondi Nonku talking about Unonku seems to still be bothered by the alcoholism accusations because she brings them up herself when she's talking to Londi. And I'm like, do you not want to be accused of being an alcoholic? Like, why wouldn't you just like shut it down?
Why would you bring it up?
And then she's also now enabling the chatter around it in terms of production, because if you're bringing it up as a subject matter, production's going to work around it, and then Twitter is going to talk about it. So Ubabu Elton comes out and he's like, can I get you a regular?
Can I get your regular? Oh, it's a gin and tonic.
Yes. I was like, I feel like alcoholism is a serious thing, guys. Like, yeah. Like, are we talking about it or are we not? Like, are we being serious about it or are we not? And are we being opportunistic about bringing it up or not?
You know what bothers me about that moment is that Londi actually had a very sincere, respectful apology to Nonku on Real Housewives of Durban. She said, hey, I think I might have misconstrued particular things. There are certainly instances where, to me, you seemed incredibly drunk. But I recognize what the label of alcoholic does and the dangers of it. And I have dealt with alcoholism in my own family before. And so this wasn't necessarily coming from a malicious place, but it was also to call attention to the fact that this is happening. Now, the nature of Real Housewives is that everything kind of becomes salacious and ugly and whatever. But we see Ulondi in that moment, I think they were at Sun City, saying, hey, this is actually a big deal. And to hear that you've been grappling with so much, given my own kind of personal history with what alcoholism looks like in the world, I really am sorry, right? To have Unonku years after the fact to come and then come back to this to be, I don't know. I don't even know what Nonku's goal is. You know how, when you go to theatre school, one of the first things you learn as an actress is every character has a goal in a particular scene. Right? Whether it is to move from point A to B, whether it is to kind of show us your emotional interiority, those kinds of things. So given that reading and thinking about this as the media project that it is, what is Nonku's goal in that moment? And I just don't understand what it was for her to bring that up. And it doesn't make her look good. It doesn't even make Londi look bad. So what was the plan?
I suspect that she just wanted to get a rise out of her. I think Unonku, she over self-produces.
Yeah.
And I think that comes out in the final scene.
Yeah.
But I don't think she is thinking about, it's so funny because Unonku is clearly someone who cares about what people think of her. And so in many ways we see her lie or really craft a narrative because she wants to control how she's being interpreted and experienced. Yeah. It's so funny for someone with that level of care about their reputation to not in their self-producing in the story not like work around the obsession she also has about her brand.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I think she's short-sighted.
Yeah.
I think she Unongo only thinks about the goals she has in the scene.
Yeah.
Which is ironic,
Yeah.
right? So there is a goal. It's just about the scene, and it's not about you in the world. Because if you are trying, I think she finally figured out how to get a rise out of Londi, right? And it's so funny because because she had something, ne? She didn't have to bring up her thing.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And I think, yeah, she's kind of sloppy in that way.
It's so weird. And also like towards the end of the episode when they're talking about what they do and someone talks about the fact that she makes wine and she has
overreacts.
Such an overreaction to that. But Queen, this is a legitimate way to make money. Like
Yeah.
That's also bizarre that you want to claim it as a passion project and instead of the really like deeply capitalistic product that it in fact is. What you are now doing though is you're overlapping that with your own ideas around your sobriety. And that's why it becomes such an issue for you that you have A to B wines and that is the product that you give to the world. Like you are conflating the messaging around that. It's okay that you are a businesswoman who also happens to have wines and congratulations that construction is your thing. But I don't understand why she's created a hierarchy of entrepreneurship in that sense. I just was like, that's odd.
Yeah. I hear you. I have thoughts about that. Can we come back in the order?
Sure.
But yeah, that's interesting because I didn't actually connect it to her alcoholism allegations. So thanks for that. And then we go to the restaurant where Londi's being begged for the 100th time to sing, which I actually don't think is fair.
You don't
Like, you don't have to sing because you can.
Yeah.
Just on command.
My favorite episode of Come Dine With Me is where it's just the best episode. There's a teacher who clearly is like still young and in her 20s, and she obviously comes from an affluent family because her home is just like amazing. And then there's a school teacher, and then there's this hipster white lady, and then there's a comedian. And anyway, so they keep asking the comedian to make jokes at the table, and he's like, I'm just not gonna do that. And then she's like, you're a comedian, why don't you just get up and comede?
That's funny.
And then he's like, you're a school teacher, you're an idiot.
Oh,
my favorite
but it would have
episode.
been funny to say get up and teach.
It was my favorite episode, and I saw this man at National Arts Festival, and I literally was like, hi, I know you have a legitimate show running on at the moment, but I need to tell you that episode of Come Dine With Me, to me, is my Roman Empire.
Yes. It's Oscar stuff. I feel like when you're a fan of someone, and this is not necessarily what I'm saying about you, but I feel like most of us who are a fan of some actor somewhere have that one niche thing that actor did that is not Oscar worthy, not Emmy worthy, but you're like, you hit with that, okay? Because every time Jennifer Lawrence is on Watch What Happens Live, that is my favorite Jennifer Lawrence performance. But yeah. So I don't think it's fair to always be like gula, 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 gula. But Ulondi can say, hey guys, I don't do this because she does I get paid for this. And it's like you could just lean in and say, I don't sing for free and I don't want to sing on camera, set up. I understand as a singer myself. If I'm singing on a show, I'm going to have good sound.
Yeah.
Like, I want to sound as good as possible.
Yeah.
It's not about whether I'm talented or not.
Yeah.
But it's also Housewives tradition, okay? Portia had to sing on camera, okay?
Stop playing with the girls.
Candy had to sing on camera.
Sorry.
Grammy winning as she is.
Sorry, I just want to say, Candelicious. What? Why does it go so poorly when you're on Real Housewives? You have multiple awards. You're part of one of the most iconic girl groups in the world. And every time you've sang anything on Real Housewives, it has been An experience.
Yeah, I think an experience is really the word. Candy had to sing. Shamari had to sing. Okay, Drusadora had to sing.
Oh yes, I remember that.
The other Candy from Real Housewives of Potomac had to sing. We sing here. Okay,
this is part of the fiber.
Yeah, and it's like, because I mean, people come onto Real Housewives to pursue certain dreams.
Yeah.
Promote a business.
Yeah. Platform.
Exactly.
Their talents.
Yeah. And Ulondi seems to me like someone who was trying to, I don't know, get the singing career to its next level.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you're not on this show specifically for that, then why are you on this show? You know? So it's like, if you are not singing for free and just on command, your personal plan as someone who's venturing onto TV and who has ambitions of like blowing up, you would at least be like, I'll have my own situations.
Yeah.
I'll have my own events where sound is controlled by me and I sing. that I back as a fellow singer. But yeah, Ulondi, uphakamisa mic.
Yes. Oh, suke my pussy.
Sana.
Suke my pussy. Yo.
Sorry, I responded to that as a KZN girl. There's a hot black woman. I responded to that. There's a hot black Zulu woman that will do that, and everyone just goes hype. Jamaica was just not her context.
Not her context. It also wasn't what she'd been asked to do.
Exactly. Exactly. She wasn't asked to go, can you feel it? Yeah, whoa.
Because when she said, when I say Sanibona, you
I don't even know what she said.
We are here for jerk chicken.
Girl.
Please.
Girl.
So.
And she didn't even say live in Irie. Like, she didn't even do the thing that Tongo does. It's just like, wagwan. Oh, every time the Tongo says wagwan, it destroys me. It, like, gives me so much joy. That thing.
She's just so cute. And then Londi, because she's so okay. And namhla ucula kuthiwa nikani uChrystal umbhobho. Nikani uChrystal umbhobho. And Crystal goes, I know my audience.
Oh, sweetie.
And so I'm going to sing Bob Marley, No Woman, No Cry.
Down.
That was smart though. Listen, just before we talk about the singing and whether or not she can do that, everyone knows, okay, when you're a new artist or you're an opening act, to warm up the audience or to warm the audience to your music, to your original stuff, you do covers that they know and love, okay? And you make some reference to a culture that they've already embraced. And I feel like that's what my queen did. So
she really did.
10 out of 10 for that.
Can I just say, we didn't speak about this earlier, but like, you know when Crystal was busy saying giving your pearls to the pigs, Crystal was so unintentionally poignant and profound earlier on in the night.
She was.
In a way that made me soften toward her, and where I was just like, you're the most problematic white woman in the world, but here I am.
This is a
rooting
real
for
word.
you.
Yeah. I also loved how she was like, no, I'll explain myself at Congo.
like don't do that.
I can explain. I brought it up. I'll explain it.
I'll explain it.
I loved that.
Ugh, no, Crystal, you are like deeply problematic. But you know, there's that deeply problematic white woman that you're like, you know what? I will eat your milk tart. It's fantastic.
I didn't know that was a phenomenon.
I come from a small town, sweetie. Like, that is a function.
Okay, is that like a neighborly thing?
It is just like the pillars with which like small towns are built on. Having racist white ladies make the most bomb milk tart of your life.
Yeah. But would you get it from a neighbor white lady, or would it? I want to know how you come to.
So you go to the store, in the full knowledge that this is a racist institution, and they will likely racism you, customer,
as the person who
with your black rands.
Okay.
With your black rands.
Yes.
And then, you know, they'll likely say something racist, and you know.
Okay.
And then you go, thank you,
and you're like, I still have I have the tart, so I won. He who leaves with the tart. Yes. No, I also appreciated that whole spiel. It's just, you know,
Yeah.
everyone's had a women support women
Yeah,
monologue,
yeah,
you know, here and there.
yeah.
I do think it was sus, but I skipped it because I wanted to go back to it on racial lines.
Okay, got
it. Liz kept poking at Crystal.
Yeah.
And
Just misdirected.
She does that.
But she does that from Klepecha. We know Liz is a bully. We know Liz is a bully. And as soon as she feels a little bit uncomfortable, she becomes incredibly cruel very quickly.
Wow.
And it's interesting that she's been poked at the end of Girls Trip, because I feel like if she was earlier, she would have been a different person altogether on the show.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
I haven't watched Gqeberha.
you should.
And I keep feeling like it's not going to be worth my time.
There is this one character, what's her name? Like this one black woman who is just so audacious and ostentatious and a little bit delusional in the best way, in the best Real Housewives way.
See, now that's good.
That just makes it worth watching for you.
And in Xhosa?
And in Xhosa and in highbrow English.
Yes.
Love that down. Me, my favorite black woman is a Zulu black woman who knows she's got a banger Model C of a particular time. English accent and a particular time English accent of a Xhosa woman. So these women are typically around 40, 50, 60. They are educated. And so is Makhele. Those are my favorite black women in South Africa.
Reading is fundamental.
What? Reading is what? Fundamental.
Crystal sings whatever, 10s on the song selection. We move on. S story Sikalondi no Amy with a G. Help me. Fezokuhle Mtondi, reporter focusing on the Twitter streets.
What?
Because, and this is why I need your help. Because I first have Amy G story. Which is, for me, feels convoluted.
It is so convoluted.
Yeah, but also already I wasn't following.
Exactly.
And I don't care.
When she told it, I was like,
I
have no investment in you as a character. I have no investment in the story. I don't care what the blogs say. I just know at some level,
I don't know the blogs.
You were probably wrong too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, was my reading of that.
Yeah, well, so I barely have the details of that. I almost even forgot that Ulondi was like tangentially associated with Amy. Right?
I didn't
think
care.
I heard it because excuse me, because I think there was some vague invocation of Londi's name around it, whether online or on the show. But I remember just vaguely, but again, never something that I felt like, that's a fact, I know. Yeah, bo? So I barely care, barely know. And then Unong was following up, and Unong has so many questions for Ulondi, son. But she was like, Unong was following up, and then Unong, as she's following up, I'm like, I don't know what you're referring to, and I don't know I don't remember her saying Londi Leke.
Exactly.
Yeah, bo? So
Exactly.
feels a little bit of a reach. Ulondi, when she answers it, she starts by saying, no, she's not talking about me, but then she ends at a point where she was dating her fiance or husband.
I just was mad. I was just mad. I was mad at Unonku for bringing this up. Unonku, firstly, is not a thoughtful communicator in general, right? So a lot of things just get lost in her mind of trying to be shady, but also trying to uncover the story. But also, who told Unonku that she is South Africa's archivist? Like, why did she feel the need to want to know the story and want to know this version? Because she says to us in her diary, there's Amy's version and then there's Lundi's version, and somewhere in there is the truth. And I'm just like, boo, okay, firstly. But because she's such a bad communicator, it's unclear what she's asking of Ulondi to expound on.
Yes.
So then we get this convoluted version that means very little for us and is of very little interest.
And a waste of a storyline if Ulondi were to go back. Which I kind of don't want it to ever be a storyline because I don't want Amy to stay.
Oh, so B4 boring. Anyway, so I was just irritated by that moment, and I just, but it kind of falls into what Nonku's trying to achieve with this episode, is to just get a rise from Ulundi.
Yes.
So in terms of
Yes.
Nonku's character for this episode, that was, I guess, the kind of like second shot at let's figure out a way to get a rise out of this woman. Yeah.
Ebejambisa nyani. And I'm actually surprised Ulondi, I think Ulondi was like, okay, I'll give you this, you know, from night 1 and then night 2. And I think that by the time we got to the end, Lundi was like, okay, now I see a pattern.
Try lab. Yeah.
So we skip Liz and Bev at the beach because we'll come back to that at the end. Now we have Ulondi, Mel, and Christelle rehashing what was the vacay and its dynamics before Ulondi got there. I skipped that scene every time. I watched it the first time, I watched it halfway, and then I picked it up at the horse riding scene where Ulondi was falling off.
Shame, my queen.
But I know the general gist is, this is what happened. They were trying to pull you to their side.
Yeah.
Dun.
Yeah.
Do you care about that scene?
I don't, and it's also too late. It's too late for the girls to recruit Ulundi because the show is ending next week. So this doesn't matter. This just doesn't matter. This just doesn't matter.
What?
So I just was like,
to have airlines. I know that's it.
you know what I mean? It's the end of Survivor. It's day 20.
So why do you think Ulondi funa ucacelwa again?
It's day 22, Ayanda. There are too many people on the jury for this to count as an alliance, for you to then say, yeah, I outwitted, outsmart, outplayed. No, the jury knows
You are a survivor.
Yes,
Okay.
the jury knows that you just failed at this game. So what is the point of this alliance?
But why do you think Londi wanted to have the conversation?
I don't know. I
Because
think
she's the one who just got there and is leaving.
I just feel like she wants to endear herself to the white girls.
Uh-huh.
There's something about Londi that in a different way to Nonku, is curious about white women and white femininity and is interested in what the girls have to say.
Yeah. I also think she wants to be the kukola cool girl thing, but I'm the chill one. I'm not, because I've observed her in other situations as well, and she always wants to be the least bothered. Yeah, and I think, I don't know how intentional she's being about it. I think a lot of it is just like a part of her personality. Like she always wants to project.
Easy breezy cover girl.
Yes. Uba yena abiko affected.
Yeah.
So I was like, how far are you gonna take this, queen? Because okay, sharp, you're not bothered. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yakabantu ba bothered.
Exactly.
Yakabantu ba bothered. She's always trying to like disprove the valid reasons why someone is ticked off.
Yeah.
Or like downplay them. And I don't like that.
I don't like that one bit.
Yeah.
One bit.
Okay. Silapa ke ngoku. For me, it starts here. Because why would Nonku tell the full visa story on camera to the other women if she's at that point aware that Ulondi isn't comfortable talking about it on camera? This is what I'm saying. Nonku lives scene to scene. She's not thinking bigger picture.
You know what I said a couple of episodes ago? Ooh, Nonku has one thought. And she always goes with the first thought that comes into her brain.
Yeah.
Unlike most adults in the Southern Hemisphere, because I will say something about the Northern Hemisphere and the people that are about to vote Trump in again. That seems to me like a one thought again. But
I'm always catching up to.
unlike most of us, Unonko doesn't go her first thought, her second thought, her third thought. Then she speaks. It's always just like, speak, as if she's a toddler.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't want to infantilize her in that way. But I'm just like, what's happened to this person who doesn't, like, I wonder what it's like to have this person as a business colleague. Business colleague.
An associate.
As a business colleague associate. What must it mean to have this woman there? Like, how does she enact the deals that she does? You know, how does she like make the appropriate decisions around money? How does she know to buy 150 grams of cement versus 100? Because this person keeps having one thought, right? And so for me, like, the thing about a platform like this is, so in as much as Kenya Moore is incredibly divisive and problematic in the sphere of Real Housewives of Atlanta, what we leave as audience members going is, but Kenya is about her business, right? Like, Kenya is a serious, shrewd businesswoman. We can go home in the full knowledge of that. So we might not like her as a person. We might think that she went low on this, but we trust that something of her business is working. The more I see Unonku on my television, I'm sorry, I would be the intern calling my boss, being like, ha boss. So episode 6, you know, I don't know about this contract that we've just seen to her, because episode 6 might be worth looking at.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the platform is to make it possible for you to move forward with your job or whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
So, like, why are you on...
I know.
It just makes me mad. It
know.
just makes me mad. Ugh.
But, so my thing is, yes, right? So for me, that scene at the end starts here. Because I feel like Unonku is setting the table here. She's like, I'm going to make sure you girls know what the truth is, whether she wants to share it or not. And I think that's messed up. And just because you don't understand why Ulondi wants to discuss it, doesn't mean you now have to challenge that. Me, I guess she told you. And you were satisfied with the answer, and you brought it up again, and she gave you another answer. Why can't it be okay that you know that you're the only one who knows outside of her, especially when you want her to trust you? So that's important for me to keep in mind as I go into this following scene. So park that. I also want to talk about what she says about that man that she's dating, with Salt and Pepper. Because she seems to delight in the idea, whether she's serious or not, in the idea that this man's current wife, that she would become a second wife next to, might want to kill herself, or like, or for any reason is in distress because of what's happening, which is fair. Like, if my long-term partner decided, new woman in the picture, whether they tell me or not, whether they want to make them a wife or not, I'm going to be distressed by that. So there's a real betrayal that's being enacted upon another woman, and you don't even know if you want this man, but you're happy she's sad about it. I was in such a good mood when I got you.
Oh, friend. Nonku makes me so angry, because why would you play around with anyone's suicide ideation? Especially when the season that you have just wrapped of Real Housewives of Durban, the thought of people talking about a thing that led to your own suicide ideation is so deplorable to you. So remember when she was saying to Usli, I wanted to kill myself. I had all these
evil,
I took all of these painkillers because I didn't realize what I had done to my children. She uses that, right, as another way that she can deflect accountability. And then here she is, back. Guess who's back in the house? Guess who's back in the house? She's back doing a different inversion of that as a kind of way to affirm herself and her desirability that she supposedly makes other women want to be in a position in which suicide ideation becomes the next step. I am so bothered by this woman. I just get her off my screen. Yeah. Personally,
get her off my screen.
Get her off.
Luckily, she's almost off. The season is almost over. But yeah, I think everything you said is just so like to satisfaction for me.
But
also, when it comes to that, I feel like it speaks exactly to the things that bothered me about her.
I just feel like it's been interesting. Like, you know, people claim to take mental health seriously, and I think it's because like mental health has become in vogue in this kind of era in which we're in, and some people kind of say that they do and actually secretly don't, and then some people do and then they really do, and that's part of their politics and part of their ethic, right? Unonku, also for me, there's some things, for example, that are just so brazenly terrible that just as a society we've decided we don't do that anymore, and people that do that are inherently problematic people, but are just people that can't read the room. For me to play with mental health in this way is just so
and think of it as a feather in your hat.
What's happening with the grey matter here? Why is everything smooth? Ugh! She makes me mad. Sorry. She makes me mad. Every camera in the studio must know that this woman makes me mad. Ugh!
It's the fact that she considers it an achievement. It's that strong of an attachment to desirability is insane. Because Nongu doesn't say, I'm in love with this man. Nongu doesn't say, I am torn and I'm experiencing difficult feelings about how and he's not saying I'm also she's not saying I'm also in a difficult place about this other woman, right? She's not being delicate about her existence. So she's not in love with the man. Like, the stakes are not there. She thinks she loves him. She knows she doesn't want to be in a polygamous marriage. So Nongu's
but also, can I just say, she only knows that now. Like, these girls have been more forthright about
that it's wrong.
This is not the on Real Housewives of Durban, Jojo was the only one who was like, girl, you deserve more. And she was like, whatever, Joe. Because the other girls were busy like kikiing when she was talking about it. She was like, yeah, so I don't know, maybe I'm going to be with this man. So like, Onongo also, wherever the wind pushes her is the opinion she's going to have about particular things.
So are you saying that she may be in love with the guy and she may be considering it and lying about
not.
it?
I don't know what her interiority is, and I'm so glad I don't. But whatever feelings are mediated by whatever conversations she's having on the outside. So I also don't feel like she's in love with him enough to withstand whatever the gallery says. She's always kind of attuned to what the gallery is saying. So if in fact she is deeply in love with this person and the girls are like, but this is weird, polygamy is problematic for whatever reason, she's like, yeah, so I mean, I think I'm in love with him. But on the other show, guys, I am sick.
That's nothing, come on.
On the other show, because people are like, she's like, I'm so in love and he buys me flowers and he just treats me like the little girl that I am, and guys and so like we never understand the stakes for her in the way that you've just described. Like, there are no stakes.
We don't know,
for Unonku, at least the way she presents it and the way that we consume it.
So that's what I'm saying about, it's not even that she is genuinely finding herself in competition with another woman about a man that she is attached to in any meaningful way. So it's not even that there are any real stakes. She doesn't even want this man in a real way, right? If Nongu really is looking for a partner, she's not really considering this man for that position, or at least not 100%. So it makes it even more egregious that you delight in this woman possibly having these tragic emotions and reactions to what is happening in her life for a man you don't care about. So for you, it is so important, right, to be desired and to be chosen over other women. That even if you don't want the man, even if you're chosen by a man you don't care about, and another woman is, in distress about it, it's a win. That's crazy to me.
Egregious.
Hi. So, keeping with that, we're in they fashioned it like a like they styled them as though it's a final dinner.
Yeah, I think it is. The
It
final
was
dinner.
a whole thing. So I guess next episode is going to end there.
Yeah.
So it is the final dinner, and they've been styled. They've been supplied with dresses.
Dresses have been made available.
No judgment on the. Although I did like Letabo's dress on her, and I thought Lakongo looked good.
Dresses have been made available.
Lakongo looked like a young first lady, which I think
It's her brand.
is not a
I
coincidence.
think she fashioned that. I think she.
You think that's her outfit?
No, I think she's the one who was like this, that, and the other.
This and yeah,
and then
stylish of her.
And also, I just want to say, like, everyone's always making such ridiculous judgments about Lakongo's style, saying that she ages herself out of the thing. Guys, like, what happened to women choosing what they want to do with their bodies and to self-style what they want to do with their bodies? It's just such a pervasive thing that it's just odd for me. It's just an odd thing that is part of the matrix of Twitter when they talk about Ulakongo. Ulakongo feels beautiful and sexy in very particular ways of styling herself. So leave her be.
Yeah, it's so tricky with this. I agree.
I know
like
I'm being
it resonates.
reductive, but leave her be.
Sorry?
I'm saying I know I'm being reductive in like the politics of how women are dressed and fashion themselves and see themselves.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But I wanted to say it's difficult with Housewives because that is so much of the fodder. Like everyone gets judged on their style and how they present, and it becomes a part of like what we, it informs what we think and like say about them. And I think I struggle to strike a balance because we do comment on all of their style.
Yeah.
There was a whole thing with Slee and Nonku about their style and,
No.
So I think,
100%, but I just think there's something a little bit more malicious and coded with the way that people speak about Lakongo's style versus like other women's style. And like always use her age as a way to like diminish the choices she's made about her own body, because in fact, if there are times where Anne, you're like, girl, Annie, sorry, you're like, queen, but it's not used against her. It's just that
it's literally used against.
No. I'm saying we go. That was an ugly dress. Do you remember your ugly dress? But it's not.
No, we say she has bad style. I know that, and her hair.
But her, I don't know. Like it's, I don't know.
I guess
operates
I'm
in a
not
different
even
way for me.
I think it's important that we name what the difference is.
Yes.
If we are going to say
a
there's a difference.
Yeah. I think. Okay. Yeah. I think you've clarified that. There is a difference. I think all of it is problematic and weird and tied up in some kind of misogyny. But I don't know. I'm
Do you
sensitive.
think it's about Akungo's body?
I'm sensitive about Lakongo because I don't know. Also, maybe I keep saying I think Lakongo is the most normal version of a person on on this show, and I think there's a lot of her that I see in me, and I guess that fictive kinship that I've decided to create with Lakongo is kind of mediating my thoughts around it, because I just am always just like, just leave her alone. Just leave her alone. This is what she wants to do.
I hear you. Okay, I mean, Unangu at the we've touched on the selling wine thing, so I think I'll just spare the time. We move on from Liz's drunken remarks into Nongu's monologue. Nongu lets everyone know. She goes, she starts generally addressing everyone. And then she goes in, she's like, you know what? I'm actually going to go one by one. And you guys can say it back. And then she's like, I'll say one thing about each of you. And then she starts with, who was at the end? Mel. And she does an analysis of Mel Gengogo. It's not just one thing. It's how I thought of you in the beginning. No, she always seems to think she's got, the whole scene is hers. Like there's just free reign to keep talking. Tells her she thought she was a perfectionist, nothing controversial there, at least according to Mel. All of that, sharp. We address Crystal. Crystal thinks everything is about her. I think they're the same, just like Crystal says.
And yes, and I love that Crystal. She was like, it's like the pot cooling the kettle. And I was just like, I'm so glad that there was recognition in that moment, Crystal. You're growing on me because you know you're a problematic person. It is okay. I will buy your milk tart, Crystal.
Crystal said, namaste. So we have that. And then you also figure Londi, where she says, Londi, which is really where she was headed. I feel like that whole...
Exactly.
Like, you should just start it with Londi. Save us time. So save the editor some time. Really? She goes, Londi. In the beginning, I felt like you had inherited beef. And I felt like you moved with the wind. But I don't want to go there. Also, what? Okay, Letabo says you can go there, which is...
Shut up, Letabo, shut up.
Go to, okay?
Shut up.
She then goes to say, you know, I still have had essentially fondness for you, and I feel like I've supported you because I care about women. I support women, and when something is being said about a woman, I stand up for them? Is that when you're not saying bad things about women yourself?
Is that when you're not calling women harlots and Jezebels?
Yes.
And glad that they want to kill themselves?
Yes.
Is that the time?
Yes, it's on her off days.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
How bad.
Apparently. And then she goes, Londi, by the way, my heart. So many secrets in the vault. All right? Of my left ventricle. She said, cardiovascularly.
You're an idiot. Please stop. Okay.
Because what? She says, I can hold secrets. I'm saying you must tell me.
I need you to stop being Preston Big right now.
Please, chief of cardio surgery.
Okay, Christina
at
Yang.
Grace Sloan Memorial. And then she says, which is where she was, that's how I like to say it. She says, you told me this thing before, innocently. You told me your visa story off camera, right? And I think it's because she was trying to say, like, you've trusted me with this already, so, like, keep trusting me, which is, it's contradictory to what she's building up to.
Inefficient communicator.
She really is, guys. And to be fair, not her home language, fine.
Then
But
speak Zulu.
Yeah, I don't know why she doesn't do that. And then she's like, the reason I brought up the visa story last night is because I forgot. I forgot you had told me the story. Now, there are reasons why you might black out that way and forget such a significant story, not only to the person you are supposedly considerate of. Like, it's important to her. Let's say it didn't happen to you, but if you tell me a visa story, I'm going to remember your visa story, all right? But for you to also forget your whole storyline when it comes to Londi. Like, now let's stop thinking about their personal relationship. Let's talk about your plan vis-a-vis you as characters on camera. That was your plan. So you couldn't have forgotten that. It seems like it was a big part of how you were going to show up. So forgetting already is an insufficient reason to have brought it up again. And you can tell that she just wants to bring it up again. She's not really trying to offer a reason or an apology for having irritated her, brought up something that she clearly doesn't like talking about on camera. No, that's not what she's saying. She's saying, I was justified because I forgot.
Sorry.
That's when Ulondi goes,
What?
So are you bringing it up again? You can tell Londi has no patience for number one, this three-pronged approach to a question.
This paper 3 as question.
So Ulondi is just like, were you just trying to...
Is this for the cameras?
Yes. I loved Londi doing that.
Exactly.
I felt like it was earned.
Exactly.
From a story point of view, but also I think in her dynamic with Unongo, she had earned I don't even want to engage you in a civil way.
Exactly. And I also need all the women to stop telling Ulondi to not tell her to swear at Unongo because she deserves to be sworn at. I'm sorry. Controversial but brave.
No, I agree. That's who we are.
Controversial but brave.
New York Times.
Mthoge.
Yes. Yes. Londi did everything right.
Queen, 10 out of 10.
She did everything right. I loved it. Unongu, why wasn't she prepared for that back and forth?
Mthuke.
Wungulundi, why are you reacting this way?
I'm from this is a problematic thing I'm going to say, controversial but brave. But I come from Ladysmith, and in Ladysmith people just say Omshangan.
Oh, Omshangan.
Why do you keep trying to expand Omshangan?
Yes.
Of course, we don't support violence. As the know-it-alls, the views that are expressed by Fezim Tonti do not account for the views of this account.
I think it's too late for me to say I don't.
And the views of this channel, right?
I said Kobalomdu. I think that was...
But Ladysmith, someone would have said Omshangan. Like, why did you listen?
Yeah.
Omshangan.
Yeah.
Because she deserves it at this point.
She does.
Again, not real violence.
But she deserves the wrath.
Yeah, she deserves
what
it.
we're
The
saying.
aya, 100%.
And then she says, Ulondi, ingxaki yakho is that you bring up things on camera to be messy.
Exactly.
And Uloli is saying, the story about the visa illustrates that to me.
Yeah.
Because, right? It's not like I was like, I don't trust you with the information. Like, you have it. And then you brought it up again, and I tried to politely say no. So it's clear to me, Ndobana, all the other times you've been messy on camera, you've meant to be. Which I think is an indictment more on Unongo in the universe than it is Gule's show in this season of Ghost Trip. It's a comment on like how she's moved with the other women too. Hi, guys. Like Kongo tried to, and I wanted to talk about that. We need to let people be angry sometimes. I think even the peacemaker, I mean, I think about Nini. Nini used to let people have words and then intervene at the physical level. Elakongo seems to be so conflict averse that she doesn't understand. But in this context, number one, conflict is the currency.
Yeah.
But number two, this person has a valid reason to have this outburst. That is something that bothers me about Lakongo, which makes me feel like this isn't just your character now. It's not. I can't just appreciate your role in the cast, right? Because I still do appreciate her role overall.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of her doing the same thing. But I don't appreciate if I were in real life and I'm like putting together everything I know about Congo, she becomes my least favorite type of girl because it is a part of a pick-me characteristic.
Yeah, I hear you.
Just constantly trying to diminish abanye bantu's real emotions. I mean, if you've seen Inside Out, you know that joy and sadness need to live in harmony. Okay?
Disney, cut us our check.
You know what frustrates me here with Ula Tongo as well, now that you've brought this up, is that Ula Tongo there's a betrayal here, because what she's doing to Ulondi by trying to make everyone seem as if this is an appropriate conversation to be had in
hushed tones.
In hushed tones, is that she has inadvertently made Ulondi an angry black woman instead of acknowledging that Ulondi is an angry black woman who is angry about something.
Yes, who is justifiably angry.
Who's justifiably angry about something. Right? And that is a kind of colonial violence, that our people, that a lot of us have had to deal with, right? And that is actual violence. That is epistemic violence, right? To take that away, and that's why I say, this is the problem. I was reading another article about reconciliation and the kind of mode of reconciliation that was adopted in South Africa with the TRC, is that for a lot of the perpetrators of apartheid violence, they get this supposed forgiveness without earning it, without explicating, clarifying, and thinking through what it is that they've done, what harm they've done, and then they don't necessarily atone and account for the ways in which they've hurt Black South Africans, and then at the end of the trial are then absolved of all the crimes that they did. These folks who don't even feel sorry for the fact that apartheid was a function of how they received their privilege and status in the society, don't at all feel sorry, and continue in this extractive, problematic, dehumanizing mode against Black people. And so it's dangerous when you forgive umuntu that hasn't asked for it politically, is what this article was talking about. And I think about that obviously on a macro level, and I think, I mean, there's lots of critiques about the Truth and Reconciliation committee and the ways in which, Black South Africans weren't in fact heard. Truth and Translation is one of the best plays I think South Africa has ever come up with, and I think it's worth your time. But I think what we see here is at an existential, epistemic, phenomenological level, a deep misunderstanding of the violence that is going to continue if you just say, okay, ngiyaxolela. And your actions right now feed back into that kind of tradition. And it is not okay to don your maxi, sorry, your purple maxi dress and become Desmond Tutu in this moment.
Oh, okay.
Without clarifying what it is that is, by the way, I'm being deeply reductive. Desmond Tutu did some fantastic work. And there's also lots of work to critique.
We understand it's not a maxi dress. It's just the young people.
And there's also things to critique, and there's also things that were fantastic. But I do want to say, Kongo, right now, I think this is real. This is real damage. And I think we need to call this out, call this out. I also feel particularly aggrieved for Ulondi, because as a person who often is like, I'm going to for 1, 2, 3. And then someone is like, no, fees, don't make it too, we're just all having a great time.
Yeah.
We're all just having some drinks.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, harm has been done to me. I need to deal with the fact that harm has been done to me.
Absolutely. I guess on that note, do you want to talk about race?
What is it, the race?
Do you?
Yeah.
From those articles, I guess, since you're on a roll, do you want to just kind of...
No, you can go. You can go.
Okay, guys. So we have the two scenes. At the top, where Uliz is still having an emotional reaction at this point. I think for the rest of the night, because you can see, man, during the dinner that she wants to move on, and the energy is also that of move on. Unonku tried to whatever.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. It's just you. You're just Liz.
Yes, but this is during. I'm trying to remember who said Hambani and go discuss this. I think Nonku said.
Letabo said follow. Letabo first says to Nonku follow her, and then Letabo looks to Bev and she's like Hambo Liz. Yeah.
Okay. So that's how we end up having 3 people in this conversation again. Well, at least more than one person again. And Uliz is still saying things like, I'm Liz. I just want to be Liz. I don't want to be Don. But then she also remembers she has to also signal a pride in her race, which is understandable. It's like, I understand the feelings, but also the awareness that she's having to kind of work through in this moment, because she is on camera, right? So she has to think about, if my reaction feels too lax, it's not just about me. If my reaction is too emotional, it's not just about, like, whatever I say, as much as it is personal, it is not about me, not just about me.
Yeah.
So I can imagine someone being like, I'm just me, but then also I have responsibility to, like, show that, like, I don't eschew my race, right, in this conversation. So she says all of those things. And for me, that's what jumps out. It's this distinction between the person and the race, or wanting to be seen as a person outside of one's race. And then other things she says, again, will go throughout the moments where it's brought up on the show, is we need to just see people as they are, right? And not about their race. And then she says, I am Liz. I am not defined by race. She says, I am a colored woman, and I'm proud. In response to Crystal's read, Uba, you need to know who you are before you take your business to other people. And I don't know. And then Liz at some point also mentioned something about Crystal's whiteness in that moment. So it's also this thing of, like, I'm bothered by being raised, but I'm comfortable continuing to raise abanye.
Yeah.
That kind of sticks to me. So that kind of stays in mind. And I then took a step back and I was like, because now we now have, what's her face, Bev's side of the story. And Bev says, I grew up essentially in a racist home. My dad wouldn't even want an Afrikaans person in the house. Like, you couldn't even be the wrong kind of white person, right? Or the different kind of white person. She doesn't really get to finish because, of course, she's offering an explanation, some context to what she's doing to someone who is offended. And so Liz immediately is like, that's an excuse. I don't want excuses.
Yeah, this is interesting. Whilst we're still in the kitchen, because now you're talking about the beach.
Okay.
In the kitchen, she was like, when Liz angrily says, do you know how many white women are with black men? Bev goes, yeah, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. It's just something you don't often see. Which South Africa does Beverly live in? Is
Cape Town.
I'm aware. Don't worry about me, CD. I'm aware. But I'm interested in terms of the political, social implications of that. Which is the South Africa that this woman operates in.
Okay.
Where she can legitimately and innocently actually say, but it's just something you don't often see. Right?
Yeah.
There is a particular elite white South African world that she occupies that this is taboo in. That operates to this day in 2024. Right? Because what Liz is trying to seduce Bev into is the idea of non-racialism. And the idea that people are just people. Whether they're pink, black, white, green, yellow, indigo, people are just people is the seduction. She's trying to seduce her with that. But I think there's something really clear when Liz says, you just don't often see that. She's signaling to us that there is a public sphere in which this thing is still taboo. And I think that is very useful for us.
And that public sphere is separate to the mainstream public sphere?
I think there's multiple public spheres.
And are you saying hers is separate to...
I am saying that public sphere is divorced from the post-apartheid South African public sphere that we all...
And I'm asking you for this for a reason. Because I'm not
all join into when the Boks win.
Because I know a lot of, and I'm not, this is not to justify or take away from what you're saying about her specific existence, because that's why I said Cape Town. From Cape Town, when I say Cape Town, I'm making I also point. I know. But I also live in the larger Cape Town that is probably mostly black. Where that's also, so like there's like a segregated like energy there, right? And then, but also I want to have this conversation about the rest of us too, because we still have interesting coded conversations about interracial relationships in this country, even as the youth.
100%.
So, but as our brand essay would have it, we are people where We are kissing each other,
Yeah.
cross race all the time.
Yeah.
We are behind.
Oh,
like
when
we've
the-
left race as a
when the
problem
box
behind.
play-
When most South Africans are race conscious and
Deeply so.
miscegenation, if you want to make the historical term, is still taboo.
Yes.
even culturally and socially.
100%, Diana. What I'm more saying is that this is a moment of such potent truth, right? And potent truth to kind of undermine this ridiculous narrative that we have from Brand SA, right? Because there will be the photographer who takes a photo of me kissing Jan when the Boks win. And that is the South Africa that we are sold.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That is the rainbow nation that we are told that we are in. But my kiss with Jan is in the context of that club still uncomfortable. It's still uncomfortable
For
that
most of us.
it's still uncomfortable that even when the Boks won,
Yeah.
we express joy in that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Let's not like, guys, we know that.
Yeah.
We know that. And even when we have interracial couples, like, okay, I'm not going to tell my personal history, but no,
Yes.
despite my positionality in the world, I think there are a lot of black women like me who can't imagine romantic relationships with white people in South Africa. And educated
Romantic relationships.
relationships with a white partner. I'm educated.
Uh.
I have seen the benefits of the new South Africa.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this. Which tells you another thing about
Yeah.
South Africa.
Yeah.
Which tells you another thing about white South Africa. That's also like not a comfortable story to tell, not the Brand SA story to tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Let us not be dishonest about the relationships between black and white people in South Africa. Let us especially not be dishonest about the relationships of colored people in South Africa and what that in-betweenness has meant. Can I just take us back to Danielle Paula quickly?
Sure.
And I'm thinking of this idea of passing as white because that's what Bev is effectively accusing Liz of. Is that you've been passing for white and I haven't been able to clock it. And now I have like, but it's not a bad thing. Passing for white is wonderful, is what she's trying to do. But like, this is interesting because this is a particular touch point for colored South Africans. So there's a study that Danny Paula is referring to before this point at the points at which I'm going to be reading from the text. But listen to this. She says the relationship of colored to white is one often characterized by proximity, the attempt to approximate whiteness or to tend towards whiteness along the racial continuum. But both because these aspirations were known to exist and because for most they were futile, they have been used also to police ways of being colored. To accuse a person that jy ho jou wit continues to be a powerful put down in contemporary South Africa. It is an accusation that reveals an essentialized set of assumptions of how appropriately to be colored, suggesting that while it might be possible to take issue with the particular list of characteristics offered by particular racist talk around coloredness, the association of coloredness with stereotypical traits is by no means an invention of the problematics that we espouse onto coloredness, right? So even in the colored community, because this idea, jy ho jou wit, which means you're adopting a white posture, is a powerful put down.
I've also been told you keep yourself white by colored people. So it's to police. Yeah.
This is the South Africa that we that we live, right?
Exactly.
How many of us supposed coconuts have been, extricated from particular conversations around blackness because yay ho yo vit. You are adopting a white posture. This South Africa in which we live is complicated, guys. And here, these housewives have brought us into the textures of this country that we think as the Rainbow Nation. By the way, the term Rainbow Nation is not even our term. It's the term that was for post-colonial Zimbabwe, and we just kind of appropriated. So I just thought that might be a useful history lesson. I work as a historian.
You girls enjoy.
I work as a historian, so just thought you'd like to know.
Side trauma for quickly.
Quick.
Thank you for that. I forgot where I was before, but
I'm so sorry.
I think you've said no. Don't be sorry. I think you've said a good chunk of things that we can all just mull over. And I'll bank this for next week because something tells me there'll be more racially charged things to discuss next week. But I think the reason why I started with the beach scene is because it made me think about what it means to be racially conscious. Mm-hmm. And is it useful? Mm-hmm. And if it is useful, who is it useful for? Mm-hmm. How is it useful for me when I'm black, you when you're white, her when she's colored, Indian, Asian, especially now in 2024, especially thinking about the ways that we vote. We talk about race as a lens. And by we, I'm generalizing. It's really from my corner of the world. I've had people say, race isn't useful anymore. Like, race as a lens is expired. It's not, it's keeping us back. It's us, we're borrowing from colonialism and apartheid. And like, we're not using the right lens anymore. As though race is no longer relevant to our reality, right? As though we aren't still experiencing life, the state, each other as raced people. Mm-hmm. So for me, watching Bev talk about being programmed, Bev said I was programmed, right?
And it's difficult to unlearn.
To unlearn if you're trying. It's worse if you're not trying. So for her, and I think the distinction she makes, even she's like, when she says my dad wouldn't even let an Afrikaans person in, I think she's trying to say we were so diligent about our race segregation that like not even other kinds of white. So to the point where I get, like, by the time I get to black people, colored people, you have to understand I have to unlearn so many things, right?
Can I just say also, this is also interesting because Bev is one of the first housewives in the South African like context to show us that whiteness cannot be collapsed into a homogenous group. She's telling us that there are different iterations of whiteness in this country.
And
this is important,
Bev
friends.
says things out loud. And she's saying, like, my race awareness is coded in these ways. Yeah, boy. And so that's what I'm trying to forget. So I'm like, okay, Bev is racially conscious. That's ultimately what Liz is having an issue with. She's like, your race consciousness is what offends me. I am not race conscious. I'm proud of my race, but I'm not race conscious. And so on that note, beloveds, I want to leave you to think about that. And then next week we'll come back and we'll talk about why it's important to be race conscious. We love you. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow.
Like, comment, do it all. Tell your friends. Tell your lecturers. I said that last week.
Actually, for real.
Girl.
No, tell everyone.
Bye. We love you.